On. There we go. Good evening, everybody. It's Friday night. It's great to be here once again. Thanks for showing up. Appreciate it. I'll tell you what, it was the last second. The internet wasn't working, and I could not get it to work. And then at exactly 8:01, it worked. I was texting a brother in Christ of mine, say, "Hey, I don't think it's going to be a live stream tonight because of the fact that I just lost my internet." Well, I guess we lost. Good evening, Prov Gal. I guess we lost internet. We lost power for like a few seconds, but we have a generator, so went back in. But my internet or my internet extender got I don't know, struck or fried or whatever. Good evening, brother Jorge. So I don't know what happened there, but finally working on trying to reset it, trying to get it going. And man, I was a little concerned there for a second that I wasn't going to be able to get the live stream up and going tonight. But here I am, so I'm thankful for that, that we're here this evening. We got a couple of people here this evening. I'll tell you, I did a video the other day. Some of you may have seen it. Maybe you have, maybe you didn't, talking about how we handle ourselves in the workplace and being in the world, how we deal with people as born again Christians, how we have to, take a high road and, swallow your pride and be a man about things. But, and I said that day, and I don't remember exactly what I said. If you're here and you've seen it, you might remember. You can quote me. But I'm more concerned about the very little rewards I'll get in heaven than I am by anybody down here, because I work for God. I don't work for man. And that's the thing to keep in perspective, is that you don't work for some dude somewhere, some guy. You do, but you don't. You do your job to glorify God. You do the best you can. You work hard. You do what you need to do, and it goes from here. Or it goes from there. Well, the other day when I made the video, as you well know, I talked about that situation and the unfortunate situation where my boss had come out aggressively towards me to talk to me, but that's okay. We're going to get into that a little bit, because why we're going to get, and it's pretty, I don't know, apropos that we're doing this video this evening, but the timing is kind of interesting because we're going to talk about, I don't even know what the title of the video is, but it's talking about Christians in the workplace, how we should behave ourselves, and how hard it is to be godly and stay that way and not let things get to you, and just stand your ground. Don't be moved. Well, and I said in that video, I says, maybe I'll get fired. It's possible I'll get fired, and if I do, I do. But that's exactly what happened today. Today I was fired. Turns out my professing Christian boss lied. Oh, you know what? I don't have the paper with me. I wish I had the paper with me to talk about it, the little write-up. But this is what happens. When you're a born-again Christian and you're kicking some sins, man, and you're creating some trouble there without even realizing you're creating trouble, Satan is going to use those people to come after you. And my boss, and if I'll talk about where I work now, because before I didn't want to publicly say where I work. I don't like doing that. But I work for a company called Lincare. Lincare is a respiratory supply company that I work for, and respiratory supplies. You would think that's what we do, but we never seem to have enough supplies all the time, or we never have concentrators that work. Concentrators are those breathing machines you put in people's houses. They never seem to work, or we can't seem to get any, and just a big mess. But that's what I do, and I bring oxygen tanks out. In fact, I was actually on call this weekend, but I'm no longer on call, clearly, after being unceremoniously let go. But I knew it was coming, and I've said this for a while. I could feel it coming. I just knew the Lord was moving, and I knew it was happening, and I knew that the time was coming to an end because of how aggressive my boss was towards me. Not just this last time, but he's been giving me these weird attitudes the last couple of months. And I was telling my coworker, and they didn't believe me, the two drivers. They didn't believe me at first. I said, I'm telling you guys, he wants me gone. He wants me gone. He does not like me. He does not want me here. And they're like, oh, nothing's going to happen. Don't worry, Steve. And they may have been partially trying to be positive, but they partially may have not really didn't see it coming. But you know, let me say this without being bragocious. That is to say, this is not to be bragging, but that comes with discernment. And I've been very fortunate to be blessed with discernment to know something's coming, and that was coming. Just like I saw it with that guy Scotty Herb that I had a show with a while back, and that fell apart. Although, even though he went off in the left field and made a bunch of accusations and actually lied about a number of things, but I'm not sad about that situation for the fact that God put me there for a reason. God wanted me to see something. He wanted to show what kind of odd stuff that happens over there. So I'm thankful for that. God puts us in a position, and we may not think it at first, but there's a reason why we're there. So the blessing out of that was we've met a couple people. I've known a few people from that sect who left that sect and told me some bad stuff about what was going on over there. But it was nice to have met these people, and you meet people. Now, my last job, I had my first job driving down here to Tennessee. I was there for a while and met someone there, made a friend over there. So, all these things happen. And where I'm working now, well, I'm not working there anymore. Met a man again, a friend of mine was going, met him somewhere else, but then long story, but a friend now. He's a brother in Christ. So you have to look at these positive things that come out of this. Now, and I'm going to tell you the story of what happened, and you could share your own stories about the workplace and what's happened to you over time, whether it be tonight on this video or even in the comments. It doesn't matter where you put them. But anyways, so this guy Lane, who's I would say he's what's wrong with Christianity and men who call themselves men in the Christian world today. Now, he goes in one of those, mega ESV churches, so we're already off to a bad start there. But something happened with a young lady in the office. She spoke very derogatory. She was inappropriate in front of a customer and speaking down to me. And I said, and I told her, don't be mouthy or don't mouth off to me, please, because it's disrespectful. Well, she does that to him all the time. She runs the boss there, and it's just, that's the way it is, and he takes it. So he might have been someone who's always been controlled by women his whole life, so there might be an issue there. He's always been dominated by other women, but he had proved to me at this point. Now, like I said before, I was always on the fence whether he was a Christian or not. I knew she was, and I think she was just one of them, got caught up in New Age, charismatic, mysticism, Christianity, and it's just a mess, which I tried to explain to her how that works. But him, I was kind of on the fence. I thought maybe not. I don't think he is. And they said you can't judge people's salvation. You can sometimes. You can, because you'll see things that make it obvious that they're not. But this is what proved it to me. So he wrote this paper. Now, mind you, this incident happened on the 23rd. This is now the 27th. The write-up was violence, harassment or violence or threat of violence. And if anybody knows me, yeah, that's me. I'm the violent guy. And I was trying to figure out for the life of me, I'm like, you're a liar. I never pushed you. Well, he said I pushed him. I'm like, that's crazy. I would never push a boss. Even in my secular days, even when I hated bosses, when I was not being on the straight and narrow, I never, ever would have thought to push a boss or hit a boss. That's insanity. That's just nuts. So then I read the paperwork, actually, when I got home. I didn't even read it until I got home. But in the paper, it says, I poked him. Okay, so first he says I pushed him. Then the paperwork says I poked him. So right here, we already have a contradiction. We now see that this professing Christian is a liar and is not a Christian. And that is the problem. That's why a lot of people who look at people who call themselves Christians either fall away or then they go, you're a Christian? You're a bunch of hypocrites. Well, that's what he is. That's people like him are hypocrites because they're not Christian. They're not saved. There's just no way they are. Now, And I think what it wasn't so much, and I figured out what it was, and I had to think about it. So I put my, like, I think 3 fingers or 1 finger, I don't remember, but I just kind of, I went, so we weren't arguing at this point or anything like that. And he was no longer trying to talk down to me at that point because he was just rude. I went, listen, and I think I touched him here. I went, listen, what does Matthew 8:18 teach us? And then he said, don't touch me. I'm like, oh, okay, whatever, that tough guy. And I went on explaining, what does Matthew 18 teach us in verse 15? I think it's 15. Correct me if I'm wrong. He talks about how we need to go to that brother. If there's a problem, we go to them like a man and we talk to them and stuff like that. And that's what it teaches us. So if that's what he's considering pushing, me touching him and giving him scripture, we got a problem. That man is not a Christian. In fact, I'm willing to bet he has demonic spirits in him. To act the way he did was unbiblical and unchristian. That's what bothers me the most. It's not about losing the job. I don't care about that. Well, I care about losing my job. You never want to lose your job. But that wasn't my biggest problem. My biggest problem is this is the problem with men in Christianity today. Men like him who do not act like men. And we are missing that not only in the church buildings, but online, in real life. We're missing those strong Christian men. Now, I think what hurt his feelings, yes, his feelings were hurt, is when I told him, I said, listen, she, being the girl who got control over him, she may run you, but she don't run me. So I think I think the problem was I called out his manhood, and now he's got to compensate for that by firing me for her. So I get fired there. And that didn't prove you were a man. That literally just showed me you were less of a man than I thought you already were. Because this little girl, she's like 20 years old. You're a 60-year-old man. You are controlled by a female. You are not a man. You are not a man. Now, let's not talk about it. Well, aren't you controlled by a female when your wife tells you to take out trash? Okay, come on, man. Different story. But my oldest son takes out the trash. So I get out of that deal. But again, it is not so much the being fired. People get fired in life, and it happens, whatever the circumstances be. But the professing Christian, and this is what's bugged me forever. And I saw this coming for a while because he does not want me there. I've been kicking sins. I've been talking about different things. I didn't participate in the Christmas party because I told him I don't celebrate pagan holidays. I'm sorry. I mean, y'all do what you got to do, man. I'm not going to go in there and start, holding signs. You're going to hell. You do you. You do your thing over there. But I'm telling you, it's just wrong, and I don't participate. Now, a brother in Christ of mine now, he works there, and he did the same thing. He kind of stepped off of that too. He stepped away from that a little bit, which I think is astounding, which is just great that he's taking a little bit of a stand there. I don't know if you'll hear the raindrops, but it is raining in my area. It's probably why I didn't have the internet for a little bit. But so maybe I'm yelling. Someone tell me if I'm yelling too loudly over the rain. I apologize if I am. There's a lot of echo in here too. But again, so anyways, he was a threatening, abusive, and profane language. And I'm thinking, hold on. I think you just had to put a standard thing. Well, I've been in management before. So you got these little sections, you got to click on them and it covers the sections and a little handbook. And then but at the end of the day, and by the way, if he felt violently harassed, why am I there 4 days later? Now, I've been in workplaces. I know this for a fact where I've been. I don't know about anybody else. But you lay your hands on an employee or anything like that in any violent way, and they seize a violent way, you are fired. You are gone. You are escorted out of the building. That's how it works. If you feel threatened. Do you wait 4 days? And then you fire somebody? I'm going to tell you what happened here. So one of the other drivers is on vacation. He comes back Monday. So we keep me till Friday. And I told my wife this the other night. I may have told Brother Jorge. I don't know. I told my wife this the other night. I said, don't worry. I'm not going to be fired till Monday. If I get fired at all, it'll be Monday because he's going to have to keep me the rest of the week because we're down one driver. He can't afford to send me home yet. So if he's going to fire me, he's going to wait till the very last second. That way he can use me for the rest of the week. But I thought he was going to try to fire me for a whole different reason, for being, disorderly by having a conversation with them. Now, mind you, this is the same gentleman, and this is how these little wicked guys are. I tried to disengage from this conversation. Now, when I touched him on the chest was after the whole when I was trying to disengage. Okay, moving on. Okay, I got you. You're right. Moving on. And he kept on dragging it on, sucking me back in, bringing me back. I'm like, dude, I was confused by this. I'm like, okay, I think we're in agreement here. Then I'm saying that I'm wrong. Because like I said, sometimes you just have to say, hey, listen, I'm wrong. You're right. Moving on. But he's one of those people who are like, no, you can't just agree to disagree. You can't do that. I got to prove. That's a person who is not a Christian, not a born again saved. I'm sorry. So, and I kept on going on and on. And that's when because after I've been trying to disengage from this whole thing and saying you're right and trying to, and of course this part to the disengagement after he came out to me aggressively is in my face about the paperwork and, getting all angry up in my, what do they say that? Up in my grill. And I'm like, whoa, this guy's like really up in the grill here. I'm like, didn't bother me. I'm not a little baby. I didn't even report him for it or anything like that. So I'm like, all right, calm down, But when you got them little devils inside you, man, they make people act all crazy, and that's what happened with them. And it's a shame. Now I'm not angry with them because we need to forgive people. We need to forgive them for the trespasses. We need to pray for him. I really do pray for him, and I do hope he repents from his sins. He don't have to tell me he repents for his sins. He doesn't have to do that to anything like that. But he needs to get right for God because the way he acted was evil and it was wicked and it was a sin and he was in the wrong. And sometimes taking the high road can be a difficult thing. So, after all that aggressiveness and stuff like that, it kept on coming at me finally, and I'm disengaging. And then that's when I finally said to him, hey, listen, you know what? I misunderstood you. We're moving on. Now, then he again responds back to me. He goes, no. We didn't miscommunicate. You misunderstood. I'm like, you know what? Cool. Go for it. It's all you. Fine. I misunderstood. It's all me. And he goes, that's right. So it's a miscommunication, right? I'm like, what is your deal, dude? I'm like, yeah, I misunderstood. Never did I say miscommunicated. I kept saying, yeah, I misunderstood. Moving on. Not a big deal. Moving on. Kept going on and on. I'm like, listen. And that's when I got mad. Just because, and that's when I said to him, just because she controls you, she don't control me. And that's a problem with these sissies. And I'm going to now use that word sissies in reality. And I hate using those words. I get mad at other people who are just throwing them out there. But this man is a weak man, a weak spiritual man. This is the same very narcissistic man who showed me one day during work hours, by the way, when I'm trying to get stuff done. I was trying to unload my truck. He's got me in his office showing me a video of him when he was in karate. Looks like an old VHS download thing. And he's like, yeah, look at that. I can't get my leg up like that anymore. But yeah, I used to do karate. And I'm like, good for you. So did I. I was supposed to go get my black belt, but I didn't years ago. I'm not impressed. You go, oh. Well, I didn't say the not impressed part. He goes, but I mentioned, yeah, I did martial arts years and years ago, and I wish I never did. And he goes, oh. I'm like, what kind of narcissistic 60-year-old man wants to tell me about his martial arts days and the big deer that he shot up on his wall, not the deer head? Actually, he does have a deer head, doesn't he, in there? Does he? No, it's just a picture of him holding a deer head. Dude. And then go and tell me, I used to sell gold and silver at the flea markets. Made a lot of money. Yeah, I made a lot of money. All the traits of a born-again Christian, isn't it? That's a born-again saved Christian right there. It's not. But I'm still glad I had this job because it just shows me and it just points out even more of the hypocrisy that we have to worry about as born-again Christians, real, true, born-again, saved Christians. We have to worry about that. There's those type of fake people out there who are making other born-again Christians look bad because all you Christians are hypocrites. We got to fight against that because it's people like him. It's not just him. Like I said, people like him that are false. with the Santa Clauses up in their little ESV church and stuff like that. Full of sin. Full of sin. Now, I hope he repents from it. Whether he will or not, that's a different story. I hope he does. But that's what we have to deal with. And that's leads me another thing that I talked about the other day. When I was talking about these online little preacher teachers who got all these followings and stuff like that, who don't work for a living. See, they never have to deal with this. They never have to actually practice what they preach or teach. They don't have to practice it. But you and I do. You and I have to. So I told this at the end there, after he escorted me out, which was hilarious. I looked at the guy, Chris, behind him. And he was one of the salesmen. And I looked at Chris behind him and I says, hey, it's a tough spot to be in, buddy. And I says, have a good one. Because it is. Poor guy had to be the second guy. Maybe he enjoys being the second guy in an office, but I was like, he's just doing his thing. Because you have to have two people in an office. And I'm like, I want him to know at least, hey, you're cool, buddy. Don't worry about it. It's just doing his thing. But it was pretty bad. And then when I left, I was talking to my brother in Christ. He said the boss after I left, he says, hey, if he comes back to the door, you don't let him in. Okay, this guy clearly has no discernment whatsoever because I'm going to come back there. I'm like, buddy, you watch too many TV shows or you've had too many people that you've angered over the years. I don't know. But I thought that was weird. So I did go back, but I turned around after I took off my uniform shirt and I took off my hat, put it on my seat. I'll throw that in the trash. I won't give it good. I was joking that I'll give it to Goodwill so somebody can pretend to be a driver. I'll throw it in the trash because I don't want anybody walking around with the emblem was on or anything like that, creating issues. But I walked around after I took everything off, walked to the door because I still had the key to the truck. I forgot I had because I turned in my key. I didn't have to my van, but I was borrowing the other driver's van because mine was in the shop getting the tire fixed. And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot I have that key. So I walked to the door to hand him the key. And he walked up to the door and I got the key. And I'm just doing the key. And he's all, it's funny how he's standing there like I'm going to do something. Clearly, he's delusional. And when you're really truly not a Christian, that's the way you think. That's where his mind was. He's not a born again Christian. He's not saved. And that was his approach as a secular person. So then I said to him, hey, can you give me the number of Brandon? Well, actually, I didn't mean to say the guy's name, but so I can, so I told him because I am going to make a formal complaint because I think, not because I want my job back, I don't want anything, but I think it should be on record because this girl who works here has now had me fired, had another girl fired, and made another girl cry until she quit. So this woman is a cancer. This girl is very much of a cancer in that place. And I'm wondering, it's funny because that girl had a problem with that girl and that girl got fired. She had a problem with the other girl. The other girl didn't really care for her, thought she was mean all the time, and then she ended up quitting. And then I got a problem with the girl, and now I'm fired. Interesting, isn't it? Now, in the secular world, we could make that accusation. Are they sleeping together? Are they doing something together? And that's where you would go as a secular person. But as born-again Christian, we have to not do that. And it's very tempting to say things like that and start wondering what's the relationship like. And the best part about the whole thing, this is the funny part. And this is what happens, too. The people you think you could trust. She talks more stuff about him than anybody in that office. And that's the side he took. Again, because he has no discernment. Because why? He's not saved. He's not a Christian. So, in the real world, we have to deal with these things. Now, I'm going to get another job somewhere. I don't know where yet. It just happened today. But I'll get another job. God's going to provide. God's not going to provide if I just sit on the couch and eat snacks all day. But God does provide. I mean, you have to be doing your part. You have to go and do what you have to get done. And maybe it happens in 2 days, 3 days, a week. I don't know. But one has to have faith. Now, it's easy for guys out there who don't work for a living, whether it be the fake preacher teachers online that don't have jobs, or the people, the false preacher teachers and stuff like that in the buildings that don't have jobs, don't have to face the real world because they're getting paid for by other people. So they can easily say, you just got to have faith, man. You just got to have faith. Well, I agree. But those men don't have to have faith because they're getting paid by you. But I'm here to tell you, as a working guy, hey, you have faith. It's a bummer that this happened. What are you going to do? But I knew it was coming. I told my wife that. We've been working on already starting the groundwork looking for another job. We'd already started, and I started getting, started looking at insurances and stuff like that, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, we were trying to get all the ducks in a row because I knew it was coming, so I was trying to get ahead of the curve. But I didn't get ahead of the curve quick enough. But these things happen. And this will be my third job I've ever been fired from. The first job I ever got fired from, did I already mention this? Was at Burger King when I was a kid. It was summertime. I was, what was I, 17, 16 and a half, 17? I don't know. Showed up. They asked me where I was. I said, in the pool, because I missed the whole week. Yeah, they fired me. So I don't know if that counts because I was a kid, like a moron kid back then. So I don't know if that counts as getting fired, a real firing. But it happened. What are you going to do? But you have to keep your head up as a Christian. You know you're going to get attacked in the workplace. You know people are coming after you. They're coming after you. And they may not always, like I said before, they may not always know that they're coming after you. They may not even realize what they're doing. Forgive them, for they know not what they do. Devils take over. Demon spirits are within them, creating this. And when you're attacking people, or you don't realize you're attacking them by talking about the King James, talking about scriptures, how to biblically live, how you know, all these type of things, they're going to come after you. Now, I'm not saying I run into people's offices going, you're going to hell. I don't do that. I don't think I've ever done that. But I've been trying to put things into play and talk about certain things. And I think Satan's, he's not thrilled, is he? He's not thrilled with guys like me because I thought I just saw my phone go off. Nope. Okay. You know, and I usually say, and I'm very, very slow to talk about and say being attacked by Satan, because a lot of people do that. They'll just like, you know, I'm being spiritually attacked because I have a cold today. Well, it was 30 degrees outside the last 2 days and you wore no jacket. So I'm pretty sure it's not Satan. I'm pretty sure it's you. But there are times, and you have to discern when they are, that you are going to be attacked, spiritually attacked by Satan, and even in your workplace, and even through your family. That's going to happen. And this is what happened to me this past week. I've demonic spirits, demon entities got a hold of these two people. Well, one was pretty easy. The other one, I guess, was easier than I thought. And they showed their true colors. They are not saved. They're not born again Christians because they acted in an unchristian-like manner. But I guess my message out of all this, and you can ask me questions if you want. And again, this company, Lincare, I took the job in a pay cut coming to this job from my last job. And because I thought I would be helping people. And I thought I could be helping older folks and stuff like that. That's what I had in my mind, you know, bringing oxygen tanks to older folks and talking to them and spending time and just trying to maybe witness to them in certain cases and just bring some sort of light into their life for the day. That's what I wanted to do, something that was worthwhile. But as time went on, I felt like I was more of a problem, a corporate problem. Well, we can't give you this tank. We can't give you that. You don't qualify for this. You can't have that. Sorry, not my problem. I don't know, you have to call the office. You got to get approval for that tank and that tank. I'm like, it just wasn't what I was expecting it to be. And I was kind of disappointed by that aspect of it. It wasn't caring about others. And so you move on, you move forward, and you go on. Now, yeah, like I said, I will make a complaint because I guess I should now, because if you're going to sit there and say that I've done something, which I didn't, I have to call you out on it. I have to call you a liar, which you are, and I'm going to have to file some sort of paperwork, even though I'm fired. I think it's the right thing to do. I mean, this, my boss came at me in an aggressive manner, which you shouldn't do. Spoke to me in front of another coworker, which you shouldn't do. If you had a problem, you got to take, aside. Again, I've been in management. You don't air it out and attack and yell at me in front of people like she did, but it happens. The devil got them. The devil was working through them. The devil wants to keep them, and Satan wants to keep them. And Satan does not want me talking to them about the King James Bible. They don't. And it's unfortunately, they're not looking for the truth. They're looking for something to feel good in their little church buildings. It's unfortunate. But, how long did I talk about that for a little bit? Let's see. Let's look at the time. Get my glasses on. A half an hour. I rambled on for 32 minutes. With that now, Friday Night Fellowship. Brother Jorge, how was your week? I know you enjoy your job. I've enjoyed some jobs over the year. Actually, I enjoyed one of my favorite jobs I had years ago. I worked there for, I think, 8 years, and then I had to transfer because I was moving to a different part of the state. So unfortunately, that was a good job. I liked that job. It was one of my favorites. But I know you're, I think you were doing some roofing this week, I think. But this is the way life is, brothers and sisters. You're going to get attacked. You're going to get attacked. You got to roll with it, unfortunately. You guys just take the high road. Know who you're working for. You're working for God, not a man. You're working for God. You keep doing that, things will eventually pan out for you. He'll put you where he needs to be. No matter what evil comes your way, no matter what evil in your workplace comes your way, and lies and slander, you just stay with God. You have faith, and you're going to be all right. It ain't always going to be easy. You're going to hit some rough spots. It's just, that's the way it is. But I would have to say the most important thing, and for me, is I have an amazing wife. And I know deep down she's a little worried that I won't find one fast enough, because that's just my wife, and that's nothing wrong with that. But I have no fear. So, listen, I took a pay cut going to this place thinking I was going to be doing something caring, but the place, they don't care about nobody, just the bottom dollar and just money. So I might as well go to another place that just worries about the bottom dollar money. I'll just make more money, and I'll spend my off time donating my off time to wherever I got to go. But you know what I mean? That's the, sorry, I had some change, not like silver or gold, just some change. All right. I'm still having fun. I'm tying in one small stairwell roof to the main roof, and it'll be ready for sheathing. Nice. You had a little hot up there too, wasn't it? I think the whole East Coast, I guess. I don't watch the weather or watch the news that often, but I guess it was kind of 90s going all the way up there, up into your area. But it got pretty hot for a couple of days. I wish they would have fired me on the hot day, so I wouldn't have to be out in there such heat. I'm kidding. Yeah. But again, you may be in a workplace right now, and Brother Jorge's been blessed with this job. It's awesome. But you may be in a place where you wish you weren't. And God might have you there for a purpose. Remember that. Might be a reason why you're there. But if you don't want to be there, and just keep praying, if it's God's will, he'll put you somewhere else. Plenty of free plenty of free vitamin D. Yep. It's a little sunshine out there. It's been hot. But don't worry. A lot of people get nervous and scared. And these are the times there are some people who start to question God. And I get it. I know. But you can't. You stay focused. And you might have a couple of days where it's going to get real rough in your life. You might have a week where it's real rough, or 2 weeks. I don't want that to happen to me or anybody else, but it's possible. And it gets hard sometimes to stay focused and not lose hope. But people are like, well, if you're a born again Christian, you should lose hope. Everybody has flesh in them. Everybody's human, so things will sometimes get to you when they shouldn't. You have to try to find somebody you know, email a friend, text a friend, call a friend, talk to a friend, do something that will be there for you, that'll listen to you, to listen to you whine and gripe. I'm kidding. I'm not kidding about calling. I'm kidding about the whining and griping. I'm just saying sometimes when you have someone that you're able to vent to and feel comfortable with to do that, that can help. I'm sounding like a self-help guru now, but it does help when you have somebody you can talk to, kind of, In good times and bad times, it's always great to have someone you can talk to be able to get that off your chest. It's important. But don't lose faith. Don't lose hope. And this is why I pride myself. And and somebody's gonna get mad at me on the word pride, and I know why, because I've talked about the word pride. But not to be that guy who doesn't want to work. You are to work. If you're able-bodied, you're supposed to work. I don't care who you think you are, you're supposed to work. No questions. And that's why I think preachers sometimes and pastors and teachers online a little with the channels, they do a real disservice to people because you don't have to do what they have to do. You don't have to experience what they have to experience. Now, if you get to your late 50s, early 60s and stuff like that, and you're getting ready to retire, retiring, that's a different story. But if you've been trying to be a preacher since you were 20, I don't think so. But I'll tell you, it's been an exhausting day, and there's part of me that can't believe I got fired, but it's part of me that knew I was going to get fired, or knew there was a chance it was going to happen. Like I said, my boss Lane has been giving me an attitude for 2 months. Just weird things. I'm like, what is your attitude? Dirty looks and stuff like that. I'm like, well, okay, whatever. And I mean, I look back at it now and I realize, yeah, Satan doesn't want me there anymore. But also, it's not up to Satan; it's up to God, and God has allowed that to happen for me to be let go of that place. So, no offense to Lane and no offense to Satan, but you did nothing. You did absolutely nothing, because if it wasn't for God, you wouldn't have done it. He allowed that to happen. You had no control. You're just another punk. That's it. You're just another minion. And again, maybe I sound angry. I might be a little bitter. I'm not sure now. But we do have to move forward. We have to go forward. We can't let these people, these sinners, these false people, to keep us down and to get us off the course and make us question. If you're a Christian, if you're not a Christian and you look at these people who call themselves a Christian, they're not Christian. I'm telling you right now, as born again, Bible believing Christian, that those are not Christians. Do not let them be the example of the rest of us, because they do not represent the rest of us Bible believing Christians. They're fake, they're frauds, they're infiltrators. That's all there is to it. Just like this whole KJV onlyism, I am KJV. I would fall under that umbrella. But yes, there are people who infiltrate the KJV movement and make us look stupid. In fact, when other people talk about how bad the KJV movement, they always pick the weirdest people. I've actually been watching some of it, and they've been exposing. They've been showing the weirdest people, and some of the people they pick are odd. The ones that they pick to represent the crazy part of KJV onlyism, they pick Brian Denlinger, Robert Breaker, Gail Kim, and Steven Anderson. Those are the four that they put up every time. I was watching a lot of these recently. I'm like, what is going on? Because I already did this whole deep dive into this Christian debate channel, which is just fake. We shouldn't be doing that kind of stuff. But I'm listening to stuff and I'm like, what in the world? I'm like, that is really interesting. They pick the nuttiest ones. They pick the ones that are just above and beyond. Now, if I'm gonna rank out of those ones, I would say the guy Steven Anderson there is probably the highest level of crazy or falseness or whatever. I would put him number one if I'm ranking him, because this is a popular thing now. We do top 5 hate preachers on the internet. Steven Anderson, and then you got Brian Denlinger, and then they got Gail Kim on there. I don't know that Gail Kim's a hate preacher. It's weird that they got him on there. I think they talk about him because he's really just a KJV only. He's a crazy guy. And Robert Breaker, they attack as well, the anti-KJV crowd. So they go after him as well. But people like that, they just go after anybody KJV. That's all there is to it. And even the ones who don't really represent us, they go after them. So. But Satan attacks us everywhere. Satan's going to try to attack everywhere he can and go through channels, go through your workplaces, go through your family. He's either going to attack you or attack people around you or people you may be trying to reach. He might be trying to put up roadblocks, but you can't let those roadblocks stop you. You have to keep on going. You can just drive right through those roadblocks. And you got to put on the armor. Like I talked about the other day, put on the armor of God. I was paraphrasing, but that's what I have to do at work, and that's what you have to do at work. You got to put on armor because you know they're coming. They're slinging arrows. They're coming at you hard. But you got to stay focused. Don't lose your mind. Don't lose control. Don't fly off the handle. And I know this is hard to believe, and people say it all the time that don't have to do it, but bless them. Bless them that curse you. Those who keep on attacking you, bless them. Praise them. And I'm name dropping. I guess I'm in a name dropping mood tonight. Like that guy, Scotty Europe, that I work with. He talked a lot of nonsense behind the scenes, accused me of all types of stuff. This guy is way off in the left field, but I haven't seen anything from him in probably 2 years. Got to be roughly 2 years, year and a half, 2 years. I've been told about some things, but you can't let that bother you. People are going to attack you. They're going to say things about you. They're gonna try to destroy your reputation because that's Christian-like too. You got a lot of, and then you get this guy. Well, there's so many fake people now. It's crazy. It's Wes Huff, Mark Ward, Brian Denling, or Scott. He doesn't even count. Roy Bell's another strange dude to me. I'm like, these debating channels. When you look around on the internet, it's crazy. And I don't usually get time to really look at a lot of stuff because I'm too busy doing research, doing writing down stuff. I know me and my son, boy, I'm just all out of control. We're going through, I'll just look at this. That's Luke chapter 10. What we're doing here is we're actually, me and my 13-year-old son going verse by verse, and we're writing down all the different spelling changes and stuff like that. I got to put my glasses on. Jorge, you said something. Did you mean Gene Kim? You said Gail Kim. Yeah, Gene Kim. I have no idea who Gail Kim is. Maybe that's another preacher I've never heard of. I don't know. Never heard of Gail Kim. Is that another preacher? I'll have to look him up. I know Gene. I meant to say Gene Kim. Thank you. But we've been going through the scriptures, each one, because we're putting a whole study together. It's going to be pretty extensive, I think, pretty long. I'm sorry. I was trying to putting them together in short form to let people, when people tell you that you're not reading the 1611 Bible, you actually are reading the 1611 Bible and you don't realize it sometimes. But we're going to go through that, and I want to go through in a different way that no one's really doing it. People are talking about it and just giving rough numbers, but me and my 13-year-old son have been going through it so we can exact spots that the stuff that matters. I'm not really concerned about the punctuations at this moment. That's not something I'm focusing on. It's really just word changes, spelling changes, capitalizations, things like that. I'm not worried about the comma. I know parentheses. You can get into that down the road, but so like I said, so I don't get a lot of time to watch a bunch of videos. Things will pop up every now and then, or if something catches my interest, I'll watch them and I'll see something on them and I'll say, or somebody will send me a link and then that'll send me down a little, what do you call it, rabbit hole or whatever, and I'll watch those things. And that's what I did with that debate channel for like 2 weeks. I really immersed myself in that whole thing, and just it proved my point that I talked about before. It's a fruitless thing altogether. We're not supposed to be doing it. But yeah, there's a lot of crazy folks out there. There is. And it just makes us everyday born again Christians look bad. They just make us look bad. And it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. Gene Kim. I'm going to go back to that again. So Gene Kim, I don't want to sound racist or anything, but is that not the Asian guy? I'm pretty sure that's the, or Asian American or whatever. I don't know what you're allowed to say anymore, but I think that's the Asian guy. I'm pretty sure that's the Asian guy. Robert Breaker's another one they attack. Steven Anderson. Out of all of them, I think Steven Anderson is probably the easiest one to attack or go after. He's obviously false. But men like that are out there. they're just there. They're just there. Not like I said, not a big Gene Kim fan. And to be honest with Gene Kim, I've probably watched, I don't know, maybe 3, 4, 5 of his videos over the years. I've come across them. I've watched them. I think, yeah, I'm not really on board with him at all. I mean, he says things right that the King James is perfect word there, but some other stuff just weird to me. I don't know, not into it. Steven Anderson, I think I originally watched 2 videos of this guy, and I'm like, this guy's nuts. This guy just screams and yells and is angry all the time and calling people names for no reason, not even the right way. So I was like, yeah, he's odd. And I found Brian Denlinger actually through Steven Anderson because he mentioned some guy named Brian Denlinger was talking about him, and I'm like, who's Brian? I don't even know who that is. I don't know who Steven Anderson is. I think what I did is I typed in KJV or something probably like that in a search. Jorge, that's probably what I did. I probably typed in a search thing and came across him. And then I came across that Brian Denlinger guy, and his Catholic stuff was pretty spot on, but that's easy to do. I mean, everybody can attack the Catholics, but he's right on. He did some good stuff. But then he was just a lot of other stuff that he's just out in left field. And I was telling my wife, I'm like, dude, there's something not right about this guy. But whatever. Just like Perry Stone. I'm like, there's something wrong with that guy too. But now somebody go, who do you watch? I'm like, I really don't watch anybody too often. I mean, I'll see some things and if I see a title, but who's your teacher? Who's your leader? Who's your mentor? It's right here. It's the King James Bible. I'll get more out of that than anywhere else. But because we rely too much on men, even just watching me, you could consider relying too much on me, which nobody I know here is, so it's not a big deal. But that's what happens. Even I think well-meaning people just turn into cults, to be honest with you. They get too big for their britches, and it's harder and harder, I think, for Christians because they think you know what, I'm gonna go online and I'm gonna find a good, solid born again. I'm gonna find a KJV guy, and unfortunately, what gets pumped into the channels, the higher channels, and this I'll tell you for a fact because I did a little legwork on that. But it seems like the ones that they pump more on the internet, the KJV people, tend to be kind of odd, a little out there. So I did a deep dive on that, and I started, really going through. And I found some guys. There's a few guys I can't remember who they are and where they are now. Their channels were so small, just like me, just nobodies. And I'm like, they were good. They had some couple solid messages. I'm like, oh wow, this guy is pretty good. I like this guy. He's right on. He's solid. He is definitely a solid young guy or a young man, or I guess everybody's young because I'm getting old. And but they don't get pumped. They're not. They're probably not. Doing the advertisements and stuff like that. But it's the way it goes. It's always that way. It's like my brother taught me years ago. The greatest guitar players you'll never know, because he's a guitar player. I played guitar when I was younger. Well, I still got a little guitar back there. That guitar right there is a Fender. It is a gift from a former coworker and a brother in Christ, Chris. I'm thankful to him for that. I'll never forget that. I was very thankful for that. So I mess around on that every now and then. But and because they don't fit the mainstream, they don't fit what people want to see or want to hear. So these guitar players will never get heard. And I think the same thing about born again Christians and some KJV folks out there. The real honest ones, the real good ones, and the real being straight shooter for the most part are ones you're never going to hear about me or other guys. I'm not complaining that nobody hears about me. It's fine by me. I've said this for 5 people or 105 people. I'm still going to be on here every now and then. But and there's some guys I've heard. I'm like, wow, that's pretty good. They said that way better than I ever could say it. And they've got 100 subscribers or 25 subscribers, and they just keep making videos. And I'm like, that's awesome. And yeah, you can't help but respect them for that. I mean, they just keep on going. So that's pretty cool. But these bigger KJV channels, I would be very, 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 very wary. I will agree with a guy that on one point, that Flint Truth Ministry guy, I will agree with him on that part that you get big on those channels for a reason, and it's not a good one. So I'd be very wary about that. what are you doing there? You doing advertisements? Are you doing selling? I don't know. His big thing is he goes after that guy Brian Denlinger, and he's right. And don't get me wrong, but I just think he spends way too much time on it. But there are a lot of weak Christian men out there. I don't mean physically like working out on the farm. I'll tell you, you see some of these guys, these farmers, and you wouldn't even think it looking at them, man. But they'll lift up a bale of hay like you wouldn't believe. Now, if you've ever been hay baling, baled hay, that is not an easy job. I did that up in Van Buren, Maine. That was not a fun job. I'm going off topic now. I feel like people like Ruckman now. I got a story. But I remember guy says, hey, you want some gloves when you're grabbing those? I'm like, I don't need no gloves. Man, my hands hurt and they were bleeding in different spots. Not like profusely, but cuts. Grabbing that wire and throwing up the hay and barely making it. Oh, so these guys, when I see them tossing up them hay bales and just working, I'm like, I can tell you, I know how strong they are. I know how strong they are. Believe me, because that is not easy work. So I respect those guys. I respect those farmers. Talk about working and tilling your land. That right there. That's it. But I sidetracked myself. I do this. Tonight's a sidetrack night because I didn't plan on a very deep study tonight, thinking I was on call, but I'm not. Maybe I'll just be here for 4 hours. I'm kidding. I'm not going to be here for 4 hours. Next thing I know, it's 3 hours and 58 minutes. I'm like, whoa. But there are some solid KJV people out there. And when they go on the internet and they see all this foolishness that is out there, and they're like, what happened? Where are all the born again Christians? Where are the real KJV people? Where are the staunch supporters of that stuff? And it's hard to find them because I'm like, oh, you're one of those nuts. I'm like, yep. Oh, I was talking about Flint Truth. That's what it was. And I got nothing against this guy, although I don't know why he's mad at me or ducking me. I ask a simple question and he can't answer it back. It is what it is. But, and like I say, he does a lot of that at Brian Denlinger exposing stuff. I'm glad I never got sucked into that whole field. I didn't learn about him until just recently, maybe two, 3, 4, a few years ago, I first came across him. And it wasn't long before I was like, yeah, okay. But again, I met a couple of people on the way through there. So God gets you through areas for a reason, even if it's a bad place. He gets you through those areas. There's another guy called AVBTM. What's his name? Timmy? I think his name is Timmy. Timmy Connors? Timmy? I can't remember his name. I think it's Tim. Timmy, whatever. Brother Jorge, you might know him. I don't know, or might know of him. I don't know. Well, no, you do know. I think know who he is. But he had done this debate, which is I'm against this whole debating thing. I don't understand this at all. It's anti-biblical, but whatever. So I'm watching him. Somebody gave me a link to it. A brother in Christ gave me a link to it. So I watched it. And he did a decent job of keeping us cool or whatever. And he was arguing against a guy named Tommy McMurtry, which is a Steven Anderson protege. Found that out after because I had never heard of the guy. Brother Jorge, I think you mentioned it to me that he was a Steven Anderson guy, and which doesn't shock me. But this guy Timmy is a Brian Denlinger guy. And apparently, in the world of KJV angry people, the Steven Anderson guy and the Brian Denlinger guy have been arguing for like 18 years or something. They've been just going at it forever. Weird, just weird stuff there. But Timmy actually comes from that. So he's a protege of Brian Denlinger. And then this Tommy McMurtry is a protege of Steven Anderson. So I think that's why they go against each other because their mentor and their teachers, it's like they're taking their side and defending them and taking that. But anyways, so I wrote a text to this gentleman. And this is how I know that Timmy's a weak Christian. And I'm just calling you out, Timmy. I'm sorry. I love you, brother, but I try to have a conversation with you and point something out to you, but then you just go off the rails. I don't know why. And I mentioned to him that something that was concerning to me is these little gods that he had behind him, all these little Marvel superheroes. And I said that was concerning to me that a born-again Christian should not have those up. Well, he deleted that comment. So right there, that tells me that that's a weak person who can't handle a conversation, because it wasn't an insult. It wasn't me going after him. But I also have to take in from everything I've heard from a lot of people about that whole Denlinger thing. And I don't even know the guy, don't care about him. And probably, well, you're talking about him. But I'm talking about him with a bunch of other names too. But from my understanding, that he comes from that area of ban people, delete people, and excommunicate people and stuff like that, which is weird to me. I don't get all that. I think that's kind of crazy stuff. It is what it is. You just roll on from that. But don't let that bother you. I mean, if you've been excommunicated from him or anybody else, any channel at all, I mean, if you've been deleted and all that kind of stuff, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and question some their Christian integrity at that point. I have to. I don't want to, but you have to. On this channel, I don't ban anybody. Even Born Out of Season or Fearless Joe or whatever his name is. When I say whatever, I don't mean that negatively. I know he's disagreeing with me on me stuff, and I think he's kind of wants to get me into a vortex conversation. I'm not sure. But I don't ban him because I don't like what he's saying. I mean, this guy, listen, if you're watching, buddy, I love you. But this guy sent me and I'm not gonna say what he said, but he sent me like a 5-page document. And I really didn't get through that whole document. I meant to, and I didn't, But he was basically, not agreeing with what I had to say. That's okay, man. I'm not gonna ban you or delete you. That's fine. You could be against me. It's okay. It's okay, man. You got the free will to do so. But we as born again Christians have to have the spiritual strength to sit there and take it as it comes. If you can't, then you shouldn't be a preacher, teacher, minister, whatever you want to call it. You shouldn't be online. You shouldn't have channels if you can't handle the slings and arrows. And hey, people are going to attack you. And I may not even have the right answers for people. They'll get me in that one little catch you, like, aha, you pronounce that Greek word wrong or whatever it may be. I don't know. Like, okay, good for you, champ. Good for you. Good for you. These are the same people who aren't actually living their lives by the Bible. But, what are you going to do, right? But you have to take that as it comes. There's a lot of people just think, I'm a born-again Christian. I'm all good now. No, it's not how it works. That's not how it works. You gotta step up. You gotta be a light. You have to be people watching you and your actions. Like me at work. I had to swallow my pride. I did tell that to my boss or my former boss that I was disappointed in him. I really was. I was disappointed in him because he showed no biblical approach to what happened. So I was disappointed. I expected better, but what are you gonna do? It happens. And again, you expect that in a secular workplace, but you don't always expect it in a professing Christian workplace. Now, everybody there is not bad or anything like that. I'm not talking about everybody's a terrible person at that place. I'm just saying these particular cases. But I don't know. Sometimes, you make that bed, you're all going to have to sleep in it. You're going to have to answer someday for how you treat people. And especially if you're treating another brother a certain way. You're going to have to answer. You have to answer for that. And that's who you have to answer to is going to be a whole lot more harsher than the person you offended or went against or attacked. They'll get over it. Like myself, I'll get over it. Anybody again, Christian should. You just move forward. You move on. All there is to it. Everybody's trying to create the strife and the scandals. And you see that with the channels, at workplaces, at the channels, creating arguments and creating all these issues. And I'm like, what is going on? Talk about the falling away. If we're not in those times, I mean, I think we all can agree that we are in those times. But man, as the years go by, I see it getting worse and worse and worse. It's just insanity. It does blow your mind. And you're like, what is going on? But that being said, you still have to be in the workplace. You still have to go to work. God did not give you permission to leave the workforce because you felt you don't have to. Well, I'm going to be a preacher or a teacher. Yeah. and then I'll just stay home. I'll have other people pay for me. I'll take donation. I'll take offerings. No, I'll take donations. I won't call them tithes, but I'll just say donations or love offerings. There's a bunch of loopholes of these silly men, these silly fools. And I did put up that give, send go. I had that up for maybe a month, and I took it down because I was like, nope. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I just couldn't. I'm like, nope. I just feel like I'm taking money from people. Nope. And that was because I was collecting the money to anything you sent would just go to gospel tracks and stuff like that. Gospel tracks. We have gospel tracks all lined up on a desk back there. Well, you can't see it past the fan. It's been kind of hot, so I got this little fan on. My youngest one, Joshua, my 13-year-old Alex and I are working on these scriptures and going through each one and breaking them down. Joshua is at the desk back there, small desk we got, and he's organizing all the gospel tracks. So we get them, and he's putting them in little baggies so we can get them out into mailboxes and stuff like that. When I'm with them, I'll only do mailboxes. If I'm by myself, I'll hand it to a person. That's fine. But well, we talked about a lot of things this evening. I feel like we talked about a lot of stuff. What's an hour and 3 minutes in? Yeah. You still didn't tell me who is if he's an. I'll just look him up. Look at that. I'll just look him up somewhere. I don't know who this Gene Kim guy is. I'm pretty sure he's that Asian American guy. I'm pretty sure. Let's see. Gene Kim. I think that's him. Is he an author? Oh, that doesn't look like him. Hold on. Let's see if I put Gene Kim KJV. Real Bible Believers. I'm guessing that's him. I see. Okay, that's him. There you go. Welcome to Bible Baptist Church. Okay. All right. Got the right guy. I just want to make sure. I don't know what Gail Kim is, though. 1 hour and 4 minutes in. That's all I got. Does anybody want to talk at all? Nothing. But honestly, don't lose your way. Don't lose faith. It could, like I said, you might go through a little bit of tough times, maybe a couple of days, maybe a week, maybe a day, maybe 5 hours. Who knows? I don't know. Sorry, I was wondering what my phone was doing there. You don't know, but you just have the faith. Just eat less steak. I'm just kidding. We don't eat a lot of steak here. Not because I'm against meat. We're just not rich. Can't afford. You know what I don't trust? I don't trust a fat preacher. He's getting way too much money from his congregation. I heard that somewhere and I thought it was funny. Okay. Anyways. Look at John Hagee. There you go. Oh, that's a big dude. They're not hurting for any food, are they? So that's most of my video tonight. I didn't know how long I'd go with this, but that's pretty much the video. We got to, Ephesians 6:11 teaches that. Is it 6:11 or is it 5:11? Boy, I always get them confused. I can't remember off the top of my head. Let's go. Brother Jorge, you got some scriptures with you? Let's see what we got. Well, we have to be ready. I don't have any scriptures ready. What is it? Luke 21. I'm working on that. We have to be ready, and women too. I don't talk about women as much in the workplace because I do forget sometimes that there are a lot of women that have to work for whatever reason. They by choice. I don't think they should, but yeah, 6:11. That's what I thought was right. Ephesians 6:11, where it's talking about putting on the armor of God. Finally, 6:10. We'll go to 10. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wickedness, like I said, it comes at you. It might come at you in the workplace, at the workforce. When you stand truthfully, and why is there a try? I just noticed on the screen it says try. Why? That's my name is not Try, and I'm just noticing this here. What in tarnation is that there for? Huh. Sorry, I got a little sidetracked on that one. Why is that even there? That's interesting. But you need to try and stay focused. You need to try and not lose your faith. Try and stay positive. Try to realize that God has you going in the direction He wants you as long as you give it up to Him. That's the important thing. My wife and I prayed before I came out here. Not about the show, but we prayed about the job situation. Lord, open the door where I'm supposed to be. Please open that door as quickly as possible would be nice. But in His timing. But that's the thing. We don't try anymore. We just give up. We just give up. And I did that a long, long time ago. After I was first saved, I was on the right path. It's just I fell off the path, got backslidden, and I felt like I was being lied to. Discipleship wasn't there. And then I was like, oh, what's the right Bible? Because I knew there was different ones. And then I was told they weren't. And I didn't try and stay on the path. I let the world get to me. I let the world. I can blame it being the fact that I was young. But I let the world get to me. And I backslid because I didn't try. As the words apparently on my screen say. Again, still don't know why that's there. I gave up. Because I had no leadership. There was no older men saying, hey, don't give up. Keep trying. Don't give up. Keep praying. Keep trying. No, I was at Assemblies of God, Pentecostal, where you just pray away things. So just pray it into existence. Or reason you're not healed, you don't have enough faith. You're not trying hard enough. Yeah, that's it. All right. Well, I've been here for over an hour. I think we'll get close to shutting it down now because goodness knows I can go on for hours and hours, but I don't want to do that. But if you're having trouble in the workplace and you know you're being attacked, definitely pray about it. That's number one, obviously. Don't give up hope. Don't give up faith. You're where you're supposed to be, most likely. Oh, I just hit the screen here. Whoops, sorry, guys. Bouncing the screen around. You got to try to stay focused. Apparently that light's on. Because, speaking of try, your patience will be tried. They'll try to get you angry. They'll try to get you to get, poured wrath. Vengeance is not yours. These people who come after you, they're going to pay the price down the road. Then there's nothing you can say, and I've said this plenty of times, there's nothing you can say that'll be even close to what's going to be said to them on Judgment Day. Nothing. Don't worry about it. People like to talk about bless them to persecute you, but truly, you can. And you have to forgive. Because I forgive my boss today who was wrong. Unbiblical. He sinned. But I don't know that 100% he knew what he was doing. Because when the evil forces get into you, demonic spirits will get a hold of you. You'll go after men. You'll go after men who are speaking the truth. It's just part of the way it goes. But I'll live another day. I'll wake up tomorrow. I'll do the job search. Find another job. Stay in the workforce. Not going to quit my job and create a web channel and all this and have people give me money. It's not going to happen. Maybe in 10 years. Maybe when I'm in my 60s. Maybe. I'll probably be too old to do that then. Maybe I'll open up a little church down the road. A little church building. No steeple, of course. Never give up faith. No matter what dark times you think you're going through, Stay Stay focused on the Lord. With Him, you can get through anything, even if it's little rough waters. Without Him, you're going to sink in those rough waters. It's an old saying, sink or swim. Well, you're going to swink. You're going to sink, not swim. Don't be alarmed when tough times come. You're being attacked. Don't be alarmed. Be thankful. Paul didn't complain. He was thankful for his infirmities. Be thankful when this world is out to get you. My boss said, you think people are out to get you with these cameras in the vehicle. Well, actually, they are, but not just me, but they are. Now, don't get that confused with some people out there who are sinners who say, I'm being attacked. They're not. All right. With that, I will say to you, I appreciate your time. I always do. I'm thankful for you tuning in this evening. Always have been, always will be. I consider it a great blessing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people, 7 people, 8, whatever show up. And I'm okay with every one of those. I'm not here to make $1 million. I'm not here to have 1 million views. That's not the point. I'm not on there hustling for money. That's not the point. Although I did write 3 books. Huh. My wife says, "How come you don't tell more people that you wrote books?" I don't know. I'm awful at advertising. I don't even know where my books are. I have no idea where they are. I do have them in 2 local bookstores. They're on Amazon as well. I make nothing of Amazon, but my books are on Amazon. So if you type in my name, Stephen LeBlanc Sr., you'll find them. Here's one here. Has a different cover now, but that's one of them. Can you see that all right? That's one of them, King David. I should probably make a video of these. Maybe I'll do that this week. King David and the Forgotten Kings. This is one I compiled together. I didn't write it. I just compiled information for the Bible and put it in a way that I thought was easier for people to understand as a guide or reference when they're looking at King David. Of course, the other one, I don't have the other ones in here. The other one is the heresy of Christian isolationism and the truth about Christian liberty. But anyways, I just thought of that when we're talking about people hustling all the time. All right, with that, hey, I appreciate you tuning in tonight. God bless. If I don't talk to you during the week, I'll see you next week. God bless and have a great night. I'm going to awkwardly sign off now. Good night.